Welcome back. I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Bond Group in Waltham, Massachusetts, we are going sailing because this 2008 Bentley Azure is probably more yacht than car. It has a 6 3/4 liter twin turbo V8 making 450 horsepower, fairly modest, but 645 pound-feet of torque. It is a absolute monster, and it only revs to around 4,600 RPM. This is my favorite engine from the old Bentley Rolls-Royce family, and that's why this, to me, is probably the most iconic and honest Bentley that's been around in the modern era. Today, a Continental GT, sure, it's big, it's wafty, it's fast, but this is for the big dog. And it's basically a Brooklands with the roof off. And it looks like it's gonna start to rain, so we might be doing a top-up drive today. So let's jump in, protect this interior, and off we go. To put the roof up on the Bentley, first, why don't we get this in accessory mode? Our steering wheel comes down, and then over here we've got our controls. So we'll push this forward, and up comes our giant roof. This is pretty impressive how large this actually is, because this is a lot of real estate to cover. That is a process if there ever was one. Let's jump under the hood. Now, to open the hood of this Azure, you've got to pull pretty tight. It's one there, and then there's the second one. It's always a little bit of a pain. You can't be gentle with these things. And then we have a hood release on this driver's side, in America at least, when it's left-hand drive. And there is our power plant, the ancient 6 3/4 liter, but man, is it beautiful, and I love this. This is the most quintessentially Bentley and Rolls-Royce power plant. I've driven it in the Silver Spur. Gluing us to the road on all four corners is a 255 section tire on a chrome 19-inch wheel. Now, this car has 50,000 miles on it. 50, okay, 48,000. But that's a lot. That's incredible that this was able to be used the way it was intended to actually be a driver's car. Because the old saying is that you get driven in a Rolls-Royce, but you drive a Bentley. And of course, then Volkswagen and BMW split them up, and they became very, very different types of vehicles. But back in the day, this was the peak for a driver of luxury. Inside, we have these massive doors. It's almost 6,000 pounds, this car. And if you're in the rear seat and you're trying to get out and you don't want the driver to have to do it, you can use this, and both of these handles move at the same time, but not when you're using this. To start our Bentley, we've got our little switchblade key. We bring this up here, and I always go the wrong way first, like it's a USB. Our steering wheel comes down, foot on the brake. Jumping to life and idling nice and low. You'll see this tachometer, basically red line starts right after 4,500 RPM, kind of an unusual sight. And there on the odometer, 48,976. How wild. Inside, we've got this beautiful bright interior, our radio, our HVAC controls, and an ashtray with a cigar lighter. Clever stuff. Got a little bit of storage in here, and we have our seat heaters as well. And these two switches simply control the mirrors, which is kind of nice. Actually, I always forget where those are, and I look around, and then I realize they've given me individual switches for them. See what the turning radius is on this yacht. So I was definitely not expecting it to rain today. This is a big surprise. I'm glad I got all my photos done, and maybe we go find some clear open roads. But actually, with the top up, this gives you an idea of how quiet and refined these were. I do love cruising through a business park in this because you just look like you're the CEO of the company. So, I mean, maybe I don't because I'm just a skinny dude in a goofy car t-shirt. They probably don't look at me as a CEO. Sorry, I don't fit that vibe. I maybe look like the CEO's son. Put on our headlights. For good measure, always a good idea to use your headlights when you're using your wipers, just a rule. Oh, these brakes are so luxurious. They're functional. Like, sometimes you get nervous when you get into a big luxury car and you go for the brakes because luxury brakes are meant to stop you when you need to stop. And that means that they could be a little soft, they could be a little gentle, but like that's scary. You don't want something to be too luxurious when it comes to your safety. You want it to function. Same goes for steering. You want to have feedback, you know, but you also want it to be damped in such a way that you're not encumbered by any inconvenient occurrences in the road. But, you know, I do feel safe with these brakes, even though I'm trying to stop 6,000 pounds. I love how you need almost no throttle input, no revs to get this thing moving. It does operate like an airplane. If you've ever flown an airplane, you know you're not revving those airplanes out to much more than 2,600 RPM. So it's got that kind of vibe to it where it's just all low down torque. And it gives you just the nicest little rumble to let you know that there's something in there, because it's not a loud engine. It could be, I'm sure, if you really opened it up. That would be pretty wild to hear one of these fully uncorked. But it's designed to have that just warm sensation that surrounds you with torque rather than an ostentatious, blaring glow about it. There's the sun, that's what we're looking for. Let's jump on the highway. a bit faster than you would anticipate, being so large. It doesn't necessarily get off the line quickly because remember, this is just a rear-wheel drive vehicle. But what it does do is once you're moving, it has a load of torque. And it boogies. And despite the fact that this is a terribly inefficient vehicle, getting somewhere between like 8 and 12 miles per gallon maybe, it's very comfortable on the highway. It has an enormous fuel tank. It will cost you quite a lot of money to fill this up, and you will be filling it often. You look at this, this is like filling a boat. You go once in a while, you top it off, and you hope you don't have to go spend a couple $100s again. The first time I drove one of these, I was so intimidated, and the car that I was driving only had like 3,500 miles on it, which was even more intimidating because it was perfect. The fact that this at 50,000, nearly 50,000 miles still drives this well and is mostly rattle-free. I mean, if you hit some really ugly stuff, you'll hear some things, but not in a way that you're concerned about build quality. That actually speaks to me because I could certainly never afford a low mileage one of these, but I do someday hope to own just a ridiculous Luxo barge in the collection, and it would be great to have something like this with some real driver's miles on it so I wouldn't have to worry about it. Now they are enormous, and you don't have a ton of visibility out of that rear quarter because of the roof. So I do try to drive this with the roof down as frequently as possible. Now, you may think this is not a light, sporty car. Why would it be fun? Sometimes piloting outrageously large or goofy things is fun. This is why I loved driving like Grand Marquis and Crown Victorias when I was a kid. Like, I had a bunch of friends with those cars, and at every chance I could get to drive their cars, I would, because I thought it was so entertaining. And this is tighter than that. This feels a lot more, you know, capable. I mean, hopefully for the money, it's better than a Grand Marquis, right? But I do find that there's like a real sense of joy in driving these types of land yachts. There's something really special about it. And it's not simply the chassis, it's this powertrain. Being able to use this 6 3/4 liter twin turbo V8 is a real treat. You feel like every time you get into that throttle, you're doing something special and you're experiencing something that is just gone in this world. The tricky thing about owning a really nice one of these is you don't want to park it anywhere. It's so big, it's so long that it almost doesn't fit in any spots. So you're always worried, like, someone, you know, maybe you've got room side to side, but because it's so long, someone's going to come around and clip the bumper or the corner. Think about everybody you know with a Camry dent because they are misjudging how far back that rear corner is. Well, that's definitely going to happen in this thing. At some point, you're going to back this into something, and you need to be prepared for that. So maybe if you're going to use it, it's better to have a little more of a driver than the show queen, than the Pebble Beach Concours winner. A lot of people think of Bentley today as the Bentayga or the Continental GT. I think the CGT is still a pretty Bentley style car, but you know, these were the days where Bentley really set them apart, and my goodness, do they look like nothing else on the road. There's something incredibly special about the presence this has. And even if people don't necessarily know what it is, they know it's expensive, and whoever's driving it is probably a little eccentric or strange, and that's probably true. So thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thanks for coming along with me on a bizarrely wet ride in this Azure. That wasn't supposed to happen, but you know, a top-up ride in this is something I haven't really done in a really long time. So that was special for me. Thanks so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.